Right, hello guys, how you doing? This is Paul from Crypto Journal. Welcome to another video. If you are new to the channel, well, what I do on this channel is just share my passion for crypto. So I talk about the latest news. I do some crypto education. I share some of my journey, my portfolios. How I'm trying to hit 100K in crypto, and other investments that I'm involved in. So if those sounds like things that you're interested in, please consider subscribing to the channel. Okay, let's get into today's video. And I I found this interesting article on TradingView. And it's Tom Lee. If you don't know who Tom Lee is, he's one of the great minds in the crypto, not just in the crypto space, in the investing space. And he thinks Ethereum is ready to explode to $12,000 by January. Now, this comes at a time where crypto is completely getting killed right now. If you look at the value of Ethereum or Bitcoin or even all cryptos today, everything is down. I think Ethereum is down to about 3,100 at the point of recording this video. Bitcoin is broken below 100K. I think we're at around 98K right now. Even the stock market is down. Everything is down. So for Tom to be optimistic about Ethereum hitting 12,000 in January is quite interesting. So let's get into the article, and then I'll share my thoughts afterwards. So it says Fundstrat co-founder Tom Lee says Ethereum could be the crypto market's near-term leader, targeting a move to 12,000 by January. We're in November 2025 right now, so in 2 months' time, he's predicting a move from about 3,100 right now to 12,000. That would be absolutely insane. But, if it does happen, I'll be very happy as somebody that does hold some Ethereum. And I do plan on acquiring and accumulating more. But that would be absolutely great if that could happen. So targeting a move to 12,000 by January on the back. And the reason he thinks that is because of Wall Street's tokenization push and rising growth expectation for smart contract platforms. Now, what he means by that is Wall Street is going to begin to tokenize real world assets and bringing them on the blockchain. And their chosen blockchain for that is Ethereum. So just imagine all those billions and trillions of dollars coming from Wall Street into the Ethereum blockchain. Think of what that's going to do for Ethereum, the price of Ethereum. So while I think the 12,000 target is optimistic, it could potentially happen depending on how quickly the adoption takes place, right? So let's continue. He said in an interview released November 10 with Tom Nash, that was about three days ago, Lee emphasized that while Bitcoin remains under-owned, which means not enough people have it, there's a bigger move in Ethereum over the next several weeks as capital reallocates towards the rails that power stablecoins and tokenized assets. So for the most part, Ethereum is the blockchain of choice for stablecoins and tokenized assets. There are others, but so far it's been the most reliable one in terms of downtime. Ethereum has never had a downtime as far as my knowledge goes. And I think that's something that Wall Street really values or place a lot of emphasis on, which is why it's looking like Ethereum is going to be the blockchain of choice for Wall Street. Let's continue. Why Ethereum is poised to rally soon. It says Lee anchored his call to a blend of technical and fundamental drivers, citing Fundstrat's head of technical strategy. He noted Mark Newton thinks we can be like 9K to 12K by January. I think that's about right. I think Ethereum more than doubles between now and year end or between now and January. In parallel, he said Bitcoin could reach the high 100,000s, maybe even 200,000 by the end of the year, while reiterating that Ethereum likely has the bigger near-term upside. So in his opinion, the near-term play, the crypto that has the most upside in the near term is Ethereum, although many are saying that, Bitcoin ultimately is the daddy. Bitcoin, I've heard a lot of people predicting that Bitcoin, when they hit 1 million and so on and so forth, while many think that, you know, they're late to the Bitcoin party because it's already hit 100K, right? So they feel the people that made money from Bitcoin are the ones that got in much earlier. But Tom Leee is saying that in the near term, he sees Ethereum as the one with the most potential upside right now. It says the crux of the Ethereum thesis, as Leee laid it out, is that the demand side of crypto is shifting toward applications that depend on smart contracts, of which, obviously Ethereum is, I believe, the first blockchain to do that. It's the first one to have smart contracts within the blockchain, something that Bitcoin doesn't have, right? Which allows you then to be able to build applications on the Ethereum blockchain, right? Precisely the domain where Ethereum is most entrenched. Even Kathy Wood wrote about it. She thinks stablecoins have been cannibalizing demand for Bitcoin, and gold and tokenized gold is cannibalizing demand for Bitcoin. But stablecoins and tokenized gold run on smart contract blockchains like Ethereum, he said. He added that Wall Street is building, and Larry Fink wants to tokenize everything on the blockchain. That means Ethereum is where people are starting to raise their growth expectations, which goes in line with what I said earlier, that Ethereum is the chosen blockchain, or it's appearing to be that way for Wall Street. Leee argued that this change in growth expectation matters as much as, if not more than, headline monetary policy over short windows. While acknowledging that the Federal Reserve remains a critical backdrop, he framed potential December easing as a catalyst for risk assets, broadly financials, small caps, and tech, and by correlation, crypto. If they cut in December, meaning if they cut interest rates, if the Fed cuts interest rates in December, they're confirming they're on an easing cycle, right? Quantitative easing, which means they'll be pumping essentially money back into the economy, right? He said calling that really bullish for equities, more tightly linked to growth and liquidity. In Lee's framework, those same flows support crypto assets, and Ethereum in particular, into year-end positioning. Okay, so the article continues on and on, but let me just read the last two paragraphs because I think there's some important information there. It says, time-wise, Leee sees positioning as the near-term accelerant. Sorry. Ooh, what a word, accelerant. In other words, a catalyst for acceleration. He argued that institutions remain behind their benchmarks after repeatedly fading rallies through 2023 to 2025, and that the final weeks of the year often force a chase into outperforming segments. There is incredible demand for equities because people are really offsides. 80% are trailing their benchmark this year. They're going to be buying stocks, he said, adding that the AI trade is going to come back strong and that crypto tends to correlate with that move. So Tom Leee believes that AI stocks will rally come year end and that crypto tends to correlate with how AI moves. So if AI moves higher, crypto should potentially do the same, right? So that's one of the catalysts that's going to accelerate that, which he believes could get us to that target of between 9 to 12,000 in January. For Ethereum specifically, Lee's case reduces to a simple through line. The pipes getting built are where the next leg of growth accrues. Stablecoins, tokenized gold, and Wall Street's broader tokenization agenda are traffic that runs on programmable blockchain. The market, in his view, is only beginning to price that through. If you're raising your growth expectation, then your discount to the future is going up, Leee said, explaining why he believes ETH can have a huge move into the year end and reach the 9,000 to 12,000 range by January. At the time of this writing, Ethereum traded at $3,447. It's even lower than that now because there's been another move downwards in crypto. So what do you think? Tom Lee raises a lot of good points, especially the points with Wall Street coming on chain, and they need a programmable blockchain, of which Ethereum, that's what Ethereum was created for. So as assets, equities, real estate, and different types of investments begin to get tokenized, it's probably going to happen on the Ethereum blockchain, at least when it comes to Wall Street, that is. So in my opinion, I don't know if we get to that 9 to 12,000, but I am optimistic about the future of Ethereum personally. I think Tom Lee does have a point. I think if it does play out the way he says it will, and Wall Street does begin to come on chain and use Ethereum for the tokenization of assets, stable coins, and so on and so forth, I think we're going to see a ton of liquidity come in, and the price could go crazy, right? And it wouldn't be surprising because we've had similar moves for Bitcoin where it's rallied, astronomically within a short space of time, right? So that can happen in crypto. So that's my opinion. Based on this information, I will be gradually increasing my accumulation of Ethereum and my position in Ethereum. And I think this is a good time to do so while the market is low. A lot of people will be afraid right now because the price has been coming down. And like I said, it's come down even more. For others, that's a concern. For me, I tend not to focus too much on the short term because I'm looking ahead 5-10 years from now, and the use case for Ethereum. And if things really play out the way we believe they will, and the way Tom has, alluded to in this article that it will, then there's huge potential for some serious money to be made for those that are patient, for those that can endure the volatility of the market. But I'm keen to know what you think. What do you think about these price targets that Tom Lee's given us? What are your forecasts for Ethereum? Do you think Wall Street ends up on the Ethereum blockchain? Do you think there are other blockchains that Wall Street might potentially use instead of Ethereum? And if so, what are those? So yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comment section. And if you have enjoyed this video, kindly like it and consider subscribing to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one. God bless. Peace.